to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 7 of Star Trek Continues. Last time we had Come Not Between the Dragons, a story about two rock monsters smashing their way through the Enterprise and killing everybody on board. It was kind of a, I was going to say it was a sweet tale about family dynamics, but it wasn't. It was a tale about, a very real tale about dysfunctional and possibly dangerous family dynamics. And how we try to step in and say, hey, this isn't so good. Could you maybe work on yourself before you take it out on your child? I like the episode. The plot had a certain maturity to it, and we had some good guest cameos. This time, we've got an episode called Embracing the Winds, which is hard to do when you think about it. Give the wind a good old hug. So let's find out what all that's about. Ooh, a shuttlecraft.
Starfleet Command has ordered the Enterprise to report to the Aldebaran sector. Meanwhile, Mr. Spock and I have been recalled to the starbase at Corinth 4 for a classified briefing.
This is different.
Thanks for taking your free time to bring us here, Sulu.
Thanks, Sulu.
Sir, as the communique only instructed you and myself to
Yeah,
report to the
Sulu
starbase,
shouldn't be here.
I would have been perfectly capable of piloting the shuttle.
Then I wouldn't have the chance to see the museum at Corinth 4. They have the most extensive collection of historical firearms in the quadrant.
No.
It's a dream come true.
We learned that in Shore Leave.
Do your interests also extend to historical firearms?
I've always had a passion for handheld weaponry.
You get it, Spock.
We're near several Orion colonies. I'm using my off time to perform some studies on the social shifts within the Syndicate since the Zamenhof incident.
Oh,
Has there been any progress?
continuity.
Perhaps. There are a lot of very angry people.
Angry enough to start another civil war?
Civil War. Wow. We're getting very close to the planet. It's got cool rings. Is it green because we're in an Orion sector? Nice. Who is this?
Gentlemen, welcome to Corinth 4.
It's Aaron Gray again. Which, we're linking back to Lalani. That's good continuity. Plus we got to see the boomerang on the wall. Now, is she going to be nicer in this episode than she was last time? Oh, maybe this is all about what's going on with the Orions. This top secret briefing.
May I offer you a drink?
Is this what I think it is?
Well, it depends on what you think it is.
Illegal?
You might need it after what I've got to say.
Ease the nerves.
Thank you, Captain. That won't be necessary.
So, Commodore, to what do we owe this pleasure?
I know that you and I have had our differences.
Yeah.
The crew of the Hood has been lost.
The Hood, eh? What happened?
Lost.
I've heard about the Hood before.
Your communique was rather vague.
Life support systems failure. Just an unfortunate accident.
Accident?
Very unfortunate.
Indeed.
Something's up.
The ship is still intact. The Enterprise has been sent to bring her home.
You still haven't said,
Hey, why are we here?
why are we here?
I thought you'd want to be present in person to hear what I have to say.
Okay.
The Hood will need a new crew and a new captain.
Well, the Lexington is gone. What about Commodore Wesley?
More continuity.
He's put in for early retirement.
Wesley. How about Spock?
Farragut's being decommissioned?
His old ship.
We have only 7 Constitution-class starships in service, and we need experienced officers on those bridges. I know of only one candidate who's qualified to assume command of the Hood.
Spock? But you can't take Spock.
Congratulations,
Captain Spock.
Captain Spock.
No!
Space.
They can't just assign him like that. Well, I guess they can. I was going to say they should just offer him the position. He'll think about it. He'll either accept or not, and then they'll give it to the next person, and so on. But I guess in a system like this, you can just assign somebody, and they have to agree. I don't know. Riker was always offered the chair. He was never forced. Lots of continuity in this. Mentioning the Lexington from a few episodes ago. All the Lilani stuff. Bringing back Aaron. Oh, we're zooming.
Ship's log, stardate 6295.5.
Got it.
Lieutenant Commander Scott in command. The Enterprise has been sent to salvage the USS Hood near the edge of Federation territory in the Beta Quadrant.
Careful, Scotty. Something's up with the Hood.
Transmissions, Mr. Scott.
Something's up
The
with
Hood
it.
was investigating a subspace anomaly when life support failed.
It's possible they didn't compensate properly for the gravitational effects, sir. All hands.
And we wonder why man wasn't born with wings.
It's a risk we all take.
Yeah, Chekhov.
Still, it doesn't make it any easier.
Who is this guy?
Maintain course.
Yes, sir.
Back to port.
I'm gonna call him Hadley. What is this? Andorian something?
Well, to the new captain of the USS Hood. I must confess I don't cherish the idea of losing my best officer, but I guess I knew this day would come.
Yeah.
There may be a complication. Another officer had applied for the position. Commander Garrett from Earth Space Dock.
Garrett. eh?
Garrett. Very experienced officer.
Starfleet felt that she wouldn't be best suited for command.
Garrett has an exemplary service record.
Well, it seems that Commander Garrett agrees with you. She's filed an appeal with Starfleet Command.
Let her have
She
it.
asserts that she's been selectively overlooked because she's a woman.
No, we've heard this before. Turnabout intruders, Kirk.
The United Federation of Planets was formed over 100 years ago. It was vital for Earth to ally itself with other major powers in the region.
Yeah?
You've dealt with Tellarites, Captain.
Yes, I've had the distinct pleasure.
Without Tellar's resources, the Earth stood little chance to survive the Romulan incursion.
Are they also sexist?
Tellarite society has always frowned on females serving as starship captains.
There we go.
It always has.
But surely the Federation's not bound by the backward social policies of one member species.
Not necessarily. But after the controversial admission of Corridon, it would be unwise to antagonize them further.
Permission to speak freely, sir.
Always.
Off the record, please.
Laura, from the very beginning, Starfleet has had female captains. You yourself are a perfect example.
Yeah.
I'm in command of a star base, not a Constitution-class starship. Of all people, I sympathize.
I do not believe there is any formal regulation against it.
Not officially.
And while I am honored by the offer,
Yeah, can he just step down?
if Commander Garrett indeed possesses qualifications greater than I, it would be unethical for her to be passed over for promotion simply because she is a woman.
Right.
I agree.
Case closed. Let's go.
I don't envy the person that has to explain that through the Tellarite ambassador.
We just won't tell him. Oh, look at this.
Enter.
Settling in, I see.
Logic dictates I arrange my quarters to my liking.
Is this daytime?
Makes sense.
After careful consideration, I have concluded that logic also dictates I may be the more suitable candidate for the position.
This is about more
Maybe,
than logic,
maybe.
Spock. It's about fairness. Despite our charter, our values, Starfleet has never given a woman command of a Constitution-class starship. I'd like to tell myself that it's just been the way the cards fell, but perhaps there's a greater good to be considered here. Garrett's on her way here. Commodore wants me to interview her.
I'll be
I'll make a
curious
conclusion.
to see her.
But I must be honest, Spock. I can't imagine the Hood with a better captain than Garrett.
Perhaps. But perhaps you simply cannot imagine the Enterprise without me.
I think that's a little bit of it. I think just a little bit of it.
I appreciate your confidence. I too would find leaving the ship to be most difficult. But you cannot allow that to weigh on your decision.
How could it not?
Captain, I took the liberty of accessing Commander Garrett's fitness reports. I recommend reading them prior to your meeting. You may find them informative.
Is there anything juicy in here, Spock? Any highlights you wanna... Should I skip to page 17? Spock? Damn it, Spock. Okay, let's take a little break. Just a couple of minutes to talk about it. This is interesting. It's almost a follow-up to Turnabout Intruder. I can't remember her name, but she was very bitter about her being a woman and how that limited her, her opportunities of being a captain. And in a little way, we've gone somewhat into explaining why that might be the case. I was ready to dismiss that whole thing as being just a relic of the 60s. But if we were to explain it, this is an interesting way to go about it. That the Tellarites, we're blaming them, were a foundational member of the Federation, and they have certain views, and in order to smooth things over with them, generally captains have been male. And in this case, we've got Spock, who we want to keep, and this woman Garrett. Wait, that sounds familiar. Garrett. Yeah, I'm matching it with different shows now, though. Who may be more qualified, maybe not as qualified for the position. And Spock suggests that maybe he is the right choice after all. Regardless of we want to make things fair, we want to not say discriminate against anybody, but Spock saying, look, I may be the best person for the job, regardless of, say, the message we want to send or our innate need to be fair to people. So he's like, hey, read the thing and see what you think. And try and put aside your feelings about me and the system and the Tellarites. It's interesting. Do you think we'll see Sulu shooting any guns this episode? Probably not. Is there something weird going to happen with the Hood here? Yeah, absolutely. Scotty's going to get into some sort of trouble. Scotty and Chekhov and Hadley. I'm calling that new guy Hadley. He's not sitting in the right chair, but we haven't had Hadley yet. Right. It looks adrift in space, but only because of the angle we're coming at it. It looks like it's tilting forward, but it makes no sense in three-dimensional space. We could be coming at it from below as well. There's no... I was going to say there's no plane in the galaxy. There is, though. There is a plane in the galaxy. Yeah. I almost take it back now. There's a rough plane in the galaxy that we could, say, ride ourselves by. But it's still funny. Careful.
Sir, we are within sensor range of the Hood.
I'll stop.
I'll stop.
How's our life support doing? We all good?
No life signs.
Keep an eye out for subspace eddies. We don't want the same thing to happen to us.
Yeah.
I'm seeing no unusual activity in the system.
But the transmissions clearly said there was
an anomaly of some sort. Is the damage consistent with the reports?
Difficult to tell.
Something doesn't feel right.
Commander, if you give me some time, I should be able to restore life support on her engineering deck remotely.
Really? We can beam over?
You could get a closer look.
I suppose we must.
Let's do it. It's a mystery. We got 2 different episodes here, which I like. It's always nighttime on this planet.
Diana Garrett, reporting as ordered.
Garrett?
At ease, Commander. Please, sit down.
Sir, before we begin, I want to stress that I understand my protests have irritated certain flag officers.
Well, flag officers are easily irritated.
I know, I traveled here with Vice Admiral Stom from ESD.
No, that guy.
Stom. And yet you survived without throwing yourself out the airlock. So, Commander, I've been looking at your record. Roasted ranks quickly.
Anything weird in there?
Self-made woman.
Thank you.
I see you served on the Constitution before it was decommissioned. Must have been difficult. The attack on Nimbus 3, losing your captain like that.
Oh, the music
I'd
says.
prefer not to discuss the matter, sir.
Was she involved in that?
Sorry?
I've already said everything there is to say about the incident. Turned over all my logs to Starfleet, including my personal logs.
She's very
I'm
defensive.
certain that's true. I simply want...
Captain, my testimony is a matter of record.
Okay.
Now, with your permission, I would like to retire to my quarters.
Oh, see you.
Certainly. Commander, get yourself some rest.
Thank you.
You think there's any Easter eggs in those names?
Mr. Scott, you'll have 6, maybe 7 hours of oxygen at most.
Good work, Ensign. That'll have to do.
Let's go.
Request permission to join the boarding party.
Yeah.
Not this time, lad.
Oh, Chekhov's so eager. He still wants
Mr.
that
Hadley,
promotion.
you have the con.
Oh, crap. Scotty, you said the name. And I was too busy talking about Chekhov. Hang on. Continuity with Chekhov. Always eager. Hadley! He said Hadley, I was right. He said Hadley. I call him Hadley. He is Hadley. He's got the con. Well, Scotty's away. Good job, Hadley. 10 out of 10 episode. We don't need to watch anymore. What's going on with Garrett? Why doesn't she want to speak about that incident? She's like, I've said everything I need to say about it. It's all on the record. I've submitted all my reports. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Back off. I need to go to my quarters. And Kirk's like, what? Fine. Okay. Spock saw it. It was on page 17. Spock knew. But maybe it's, I don't know. We have to get to the bottom of what happened there and why she is so defensive about it. Anyway, look, Hadley's in the episode. That's all I need.
Mr. Hadley, you have the con.
Yeah.
It's not personal, Pavel. You're a talented navigator, but you're not focused.
What?
A jack of all trades is a master of none.
He wants to be a master of
Find
everything.
something you really love and stick with it. You never know until you try.
No, you can be a master of everything, Chekhov. Oh, hey.
Doctor.
The captain filled me in on the situation. I thought I'd check in and see how you're doing.
More continuity with these
Is
two.
this about time?
I would welcome your advice on this matter.
Okay.
It may not be prudent to provoke the Tellarites at this time.
I don't think that's the issue.
What do you believe the issue is, Doctor?
Acquiring my position on the Enterprise was not easy. But having the requisite skills and experience, I never attributed their concern to my being a woman. Yet, I have seen enough of human nature to know that how we learn to evaluate others is a many-layered process. And if bias is present, it is often deep and subconscious.
As one whose appearance has on occasion been perceived as the most significant element of my identity, I concur that humans, indeed all races, are capable of such bias, both intentionally and unintentionally. But Commander Garrett's record has numerous issues which necessitate further scrutiny.
Yeah. She's hiding
And tell me, Spock,
something.
would her record be under the same degree of scrutiny if she were a man?
I believe it would, Doctor.
Spock, from Spock's side, yeah.
But one can never be certain of another's motives.
No, we can't. But we can certainly strive to be clear about our own.
Captain.
I asked you to interview Commander Garrett, not antagonize her.
Jeez.
That wasn't my intention.
Barely said anything to her.
She filed a petition for an immediate decision regarding the Hood's captaincy.
Immediate?
Hurry. The A3-person committee will hold a formal hearing to make the final determination.
Who's going to be on?
Admiral Stom, myself, and the next senior officer on this starbase. You.
She wants an immediate decision. We don't know the full story. We don't know anything. Court is now in session.
This hearing is now in session. Commander Spock and Garrett, you have the right to ask for substitute officers if you feel any of these named harbor any prejudice to your cases.
Well...
Do you consent to the service of myself as president of this board?
Yeah,
I
no.
do, sir. Yes, I do, sir.
No problem. Kirk's the problem, I think.
If you please.
There has to be like a conflict of interest here. We're going to read out his record?
Spock. Serial number S179-276SP.
Commander Spock's record is impeccable, of course. I move that we dispense with the formalities.
Oh, I object. I believe Mr. Spock's qualifications are material to this decision.
We're going to read them all out?
Commendations. Vulcanian Scientific Legion of Honor. Awards of Valor. Twice decorated by Starfleet Command.
How long have you served in Starfleet?
19 years.
And for the majority of that time, you functioned as science officer on board the Enterprise?
Yeah.
I have.
If you were transferred to the captaincy of the Hood, how would that make you feel?
Is this a trick?
Yes, you are Vulcan.
Trick question?
But you are also half human, aren't you?
I am, Admiral.
As a student, you were accepted to the Vulcan Science Academy. A tremendous honor.
Affirmative.
You turned it down.
Yet you turned down admission.
Yeah.
Did your human emotions play a role in that decision?
No, sir, they did not.
This guy.
Inaccurate.
Whoa.
Inaccurate.
Whoa.
Data in error.
What the hell? Deanna, what?
The computer would appear to disagree with you, Commander.
I object to this line of questioning. His racial heritage should have no bearing on his qualification for this position any more than Commander Garrett's gender should.
Would you deny that every individual's abilities, character, judgment, strengths are in part shaped by his or her heritage? Gender?
Sure.
I know. The idea of a female starship captain unsettles some people, doesn't it?
Doesn't unsettle anybody here.
I see. Let's cut to the chase, shall we? For the record, I am absolutely convinced that it's time for a woman to captain a Constitution-class vessel. But with respect to Commander Garrett, I'm not convinced she is that woman.
Let's I want to know stuff. I want to see her on the chair. She might be great. Don't touch any of them. Scotty. Drake's here too. We also got a guy we can kill off. I'll call him Sturgeon.
The board's damaged. I'm gonna need to bypass it to access the ship's logs.
I'll get the dilithium chamber open. See how bad these crystals have to get.
I feel like we should be wearing gloves. And masks. Yeah, let Drake do it. Whoa, yeah, he's got more continuity. Holy shit. I forgot about his arm.
Garrett, Diana L. Commendations. Tucker Memorial Medal of Honor.
Tucker.
Awards of Valor. 4 times decorated by Starfleet Command.
You boast an impressive record for your service to Starfleet. Very impressive.
Yeah.
Indeed. But there are some questions which this court would be remiss not to address. You were part of the ill-fated Nimbus 3 landing party, were you not?
Yeah, what happened?
Those arthropods came out of nowhere.
Yes, I read your statement to Starfleet. I also read the official investigation into the incident.
Commodore?
It suggested human error.
Nope.
That investigation was conducted by a Tellarite officer, and no proof of wrongdoing was ever officially determined.
Officially. Yet you and 2 of your subordinates pled the 7th guarantee during the proceedings.
Which by law may not be inferred as an admission of culpability.
The 7th guarantee.
There are numerous similar incidents in your file. I see 2 officers sitting in that chair, one with a long history of faithful service, and one who reacts with undue hostility whenever her judgment is questioned.
Perhaps hostility is a legitimate reaction when one is subjected to undue scrutiny and discrimination.
Yeah, maybe. She's tired of it.
I wish I could assure you that you haven't been held to a different standard throughout your career because you happen to be a woman. Perhaps you have. I honestly don't know.
Garrett! I've got it. I figured it out. I remembered. My brain. Captain of the USS Enterprise. NCC 1701C. Garrett. I'm glad that finally came to me. I'm curious about this actress, actually. If I know her from somewhere. I dismissed her being a Star Trek cameo because she's so young, but there could be something with her. I like this episode because I'm not sure what to think. She's very defensive, but she's had a history of having to be defensive because she's been under more scrutiny than other people. So it's kind of history has built her that way, sort of thing. Yeah, I wonder where we're going at the end of this. Look, obviously Spock is going to remain on the Enterprise. Unfortunately, we know that. We kind of implicitly know that. We can't take Spock from the Enterprise. We almost know that, I think. This is actually technically more in the future than I couldn't tell you the route Spock takes through his life after the original run, you know? But I presume he'll be in the next few episodes too. So, anyway. Yesterday's Enterprise.
But part of the duty of a starship captain is to learn from mistakes, to face repercussions of action and inaction, and to admit when he or she is in the wrong.
I am well aware of the position's job requirements, Commodore. As I have testified too many times now, I was not in the wrong.
She's very confident and defiant.
The rift, it disappeared.
What do you make of it?
I've never seen anything like that before.
Oh! Did we just get hit by something? A rift of some kind?
Sir, I'm reading a massive power surge in the Hood's engines.
Enterprise, we've got a containment failure. Get us out of here!
Beam us
Reach
out.
the transporter room. Energize.
Their deflector screens have activated. It's impossible to get a look. We can't bring them back.
Check it off!
How much time?
Seconds.
I'm sorry. Get as far away as possible.
No.
Rendezvous with the Captain at Corinth 4.
Decision to make, Hadley.
Wait!
Oh, Chekhov has an idea.
I have an idea. Permission to take weapon subsystem stations, sir. Trust me.
Do it.
Go.
Enterprise, get out of here!
You got an idea, Scotty.
Mr. Hadley, that's a direct order!
I might be able to transmit Utronic algorithm. Force computer to drop shields.
Are you daft, Edson? You'll kill yourself, man!
The Hood's warp core is critical.
Someone translate that for me. Take him to sickbay.
The shields are down. Transporter room, get them out of there.
Yeah. We got him. What the hell is happening in that area of space?
The board will entertain motions before delivering its verdict.
We good?
Very well.
We didn't make...
All rise.
I feel like we didn't make enough of a case for... We didn't learn as much as we should have.
Admiral?
I endorse Commander Garrett for promotion to the rank of captain.
He was on her side from the minute...
I endorse
Go.
Commander Spock for promotion to the rank of captain.
It's on Kirk now to make a decision.
Captain Kirk?
Ops to Commodore Gray. Incoming transmission from the Enterprise. They were unable to salvage the Hood, Commodore.
What about my people?
Reports still coming in, sir, but no major injuries to your crew.
Chekhov saved the day.
Understood. Gray out. This new information renders these proceedings unnecessary.
I'm afraid that appears to be the case.
Oh yeah, we were... we were picking a captain for the Hood. I never connected those in my head. I thought, hey, two separate storylines. But no, we're... No ship, no captain, no hearing, no anything. No Kirk decision, or nothing. Because before that, I was like, Kirk, he doesn't have enough information. He didn't get enough from this hearing to really make a make a decision he can be confident in. So what is he going to do? Cue the ship blowing up. Well, you don't have to make a choice now.
Commander Garrett and I shall return to Earth's space dock.
If I may, there's an underlying issue that still remains, is there not?
Yeah, I think so.
For decades, I believe the service has overlooked capable officers for certain positions simply because we're women. May not even be intentional.
I'm sorry to interrupt right here during her speech. We didn't talk about the Galileo 7. We didn't mention anything that happened during that mission. Spock was in command on that planet. People died. He made some decisions. We didn't bring it up. We didn't bring up any situation that Spock has ever been in where anybody has died. But with her, we brought up not only the main incident, but we said that there have been several weird incidents with her. So I'm inclined to believe, at least a little bit, that we have overly focused on her record, and anything that's slightly weird in Spock's history, we have just glossed over. Maybe nothing in particular has stood out with him. But certainly in this hearing, there wasn't even a slight hint at anything in Spock's history that could have been brought up. So, yeah, just something I remembered, told him. Anyway.
We can hide behind Telluride diplomacy, rationalize it, justify it, but it is still true.
Do you believe a person should receive special consideration because of their gender?
If that person's gender, religion, or race has been historically used to deny them consideration.
That wasn't the question.
Perhaps not. But that is my answer. Starfleet has the opportunity to implement change. There are countless female officers more than capable of commanding a starship. This may not be my time, but it is most certainly theirs.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I like that.
I think we're all in agreement with that.
Spock.
Yeah?
Peace and long life.
Shut up, dude.
Live long and prosper.
Yeah, picked on him.
A moment, Doctor.
Take two, Scotty.
Of all the harebrained, half-baked lunatic ideas.
It's good to see you too, sir.
I've informed Admiral Stam of your little stunt, Lieutenant. It's worthy of a court-martial.
Come on.
Lieutenant?
Lieutenant? You've been promoted, Chekhov. Yeah.
Thank you for saving our lives, Lieutenant Chekhov.
Sir, yes, sir.
It's about time.
Have you considered a career in tactical? You may want to talk to Mr. Drake.
Commander, what happened over there? The anomaly, the warp core,
Yeah, what?
the deflector screens.
What was that?
I don't know, Lieutenant, and that's what worries me.
Who's still a mystery there? Future episode?
Before you overloaded the board, you said something.
Oh, yeah.
Old expression. Eyes might be afraid, but hands do the job. Means
Okay.
you never know until you try.
You deserve the promotion, Chekhov. Arc complete. Hey, Doc. Doc didn't have much to do this episode.
We acknowledge and respect your culture's beliefs, but I must tell you.
Oh, please.
No, this-
I'm well aware that my people's prejudices are hopelessly outdated by modern standards.
Yeah.
I appreciate that you recognize that.
Yeah.
The winds of change blow for us. I do not envy the decision Starfleet now faces, but trust that you have my full support.
Thank you, Ambassador.
This went well.
I know we didn't get off to the greatest start. Regardless, thank you for your consideration.
Who knows? Maybe someday a Garrett will command an Enterprise.
Well, it is the 23rd century. Anything's possible.
Yes. Thank you.
I must confess, I find myself bordering on an emotional reaction.
Careful.
I believe you would refer to it as shame.
Shame, Spock?
That I am somewhat relieved at the destruction of the Hood. If I may inquire, how would you have voted?
Ooh. I'll admit, I considered voting against you because I didn't want to lose you.
I briefly considered withdrawing my name for the very same reason.
And I briefly considered chaining you to your station so you could never leave. Kirk Enterprise. Scotty, stand by to receive shuttlecraft. We'll be home for dinner. Both of us.
Okay. Claire Kramer, that is a familiar name. Ah, Claire Kramer, of course. She's from Buffy. Well, that's where I know her from. I'm gonna tear up my Buffy card. I should have seen that. Now that I know it, I can see it. What an interesting, thought-provoking episode. That you know what's interesting to me about this episode? It's that Garrett isn't a black or white character. She has these question marks over her record, but we don't know whether or not those are legitimate or not. You know, she would blame the Tellarites for that. They led the investigation. And I think Gray brings up, yeah, but, you know, you pleaded, what was it, the 7th? It didn't plead the 5th, but it was like the 7th guarantee. Which is, I think it's something to do with the band. I think it's like remaining silent. Her and the people who were also on that mission remained silent for some of the questions. Maybe not as not to implicate themselves. But that's interesting to me. It's interesting to me that there are certain questions over whether or not she's hiding something about that. And it's also interesting that from her perspective, this might not be an issue if she was male instead of female, and that her record is being unfairly scrutinized with like a fine-tooth comb, whereas maybe Spock's isn't. You know, how many missions has Spock been on where somebody has died? Could he have done something to stop that? You know, when he's casually throwing rocks in the apple and they're exploding. If it had accidentally hit a crewman, would we just chalk it up to bad luck? You know, when Spock was hit by the spores in that episode and almost died, did he recommend to the captain that we should beam up and maybe beam down to the village directly? No, what Spock said was that Kirk did, because Kirk was beating himself up in that episode about the decisions he was making. Kirk said that he made every single decision correctly at every point. And I'm ranting away in the background going, what are you talking about? No, we didn't. So, anyway, back to jokes aside, back to the episode. The episode didn't shy away from anything. It actually brought up some really interesting points and arguments. Are we going too far with her? You know, the argument is that because she's female, that we are biased in some way against her that we wouldn't be in if it was a male. And then the counterpoint is, do we think that she should get special treatment because of that? You know? Because of the injustices of the past, should we kind of like diversity hiring or something like that, affirmative action? You know, should should we flip back and give a bias in the opposite direction to sort of make up for the past? There were lots of little tiny questions in this episode between the characters and conversations that challenged each other's perceptions and biases, and I found it really fascinating. And I think this is an episode that it doesn't require it, but I think it would benefit from a deep thought and then coming back to it later and talking about it, rather than just a first impression, rather than me just talking about it straight away. I think another interesting thing they do in this episode is that they don't make Garrett particularly likable. She is very defensive in her posture and in her answers. Like in that initial conversation with her and Kirk, it starts out friendly enough, but the second he brings up the incident, she closes off, she's very firm, and she gets out of there. And the flip side of that is that has been used against her time and time again across the years, and she's very, very tired of having to talk about it and having to defend herself. And here are the facts. This is what was brought up in a hearing. These are the conclusions. I don't want to speak about it anymore. And she feels annoyed by that. And maybe justifiably so. From Kirk's perspective, this is the first time he's meeting her, and he has legitimate concerns about what happened on that thing. I'd like to know. And he feels like she's being antagonistic towards him when he did nothing wrong. But she has a history of that plaguing her, perhaps, and maybe other little incidents too, that she feels she's being unfairly picked on, and she's tired of it. It makes her a little spikier as a character. But there's something about that that's it feels true to the character. And as an audience, we're like, oh, couldn't you just be a bit nicer? Couldn't you just say this in a better way? Couldn't you be friendlier with Kirk? Because we like Kirk and we like Spock. Maybe you can, if you could just tell us, maybe we would side with you if you could just be a bit more reasonable in your answers and your attitude. But they didn't go that direction, and I find that it's a brave direction. It's a brave decision to do that, and very interesting. And Kirk did not have to choose. And we had, apart from Garrett, we had a whole separate issue with Spock. We don't want Spock to leave the ship. Spock himself doesn't, part of him doesn't want to leave. And there's all of that weighing on Kirk too. And he never has to make that choice because the Hood, in a kind of its own little episode, gets destroyed. Interestingly, that subplot, that B plot with the Hood and Scotty and Chekhov and Hadley, there's something weird going on, perhaps in that area of space, that is never explained. Something happened to the Hood. We don't know what that was. We go to get it, and something again happens that we don't know what it is, and it destroys the ship and we get out of there. That's unresolved. Isn't that interesting? Will we go back to that? Can a future series, Star Trek, we're still continuing in 30 years' time, go back to that area of space and go, hey, what's up with that? Let's analyze these hull fragments from the Hood. Maybe there's something in space, being in space, a rift. An alien we can't even comprehend. Or maybe it'll be dealt with in the next episode. So much continuity in this episode, not only from before the original series, but in-series continuity. Even bringing back Gray was great. But referring to the Lexington too. Garrett, obviously, I wasn't sure until they deliberately mentioned it. A reference to the Garrett from Yesterday Days Enterprise, the TNG episode. And that was a nice little nod. I'm glad I thought of it before they hinted towards it. Because it's kind of an obscure character, and knowing that name is kind of, it would be hard to drag it out of a, you know? I'm happy with myself over that one. Chekhov, speaking of that continuity, Chekhov has been pulling double shifts. In this episode, Uhura suggests that he's a jack of all trades. He's spread himself too thin across all the disciplines, and that's why he's not got command. You know, while Hadley is getting the nod over him, because Chekhov hasn't focused himself on any particular direction. But he comes up with a solution to save the day, to take down the shields on the... I don't know how the shields raised on the hood, but he was able to take that down so that they could beam off. And then he gets promoted. Are they allowed to do that in a fan project? Are they allowed to promote people? Well deserved. And not foreshadowed, I would say, foreshadowed in a previous episode. Perhaps they intended to do it at some point, and they're like, we'll just put this in this episode, and we'll deliver on it over here. I like that. Obviously, I've said it before, I'll say it a fourth time. Hadley. Yeah. Good job, man. I called him Hadley. But I've been calling people, I call people Kyle, I've been calling people Leslie. But I got one right. I finally got one right. When they beamed over to the hood, they were touching everything. I would have been very careful, you know, I would have been wearing those things from the Naked Time. Remember Joe? And, yeah, especially when they're all just lying there. You know, it's very creepy in that area of engineering. Yeah, that's the mystery portion of the episode that we didn't really resolve. But it complemented the other story because I forgot that the hood, the ship we're going to get, is the ship that needs a captain. We had the Boomerang, I didn't point it out, but we were in Boomerang Central. It felt like the court-martial set. That Vulcan, did you hear what he was saying to Spock? Interesting that he was immediately on Garrett's side and against Spock. It didn't feel like he was being unbiased in that courtroom. I felt like Kirk was very solidly like trying to be impartial. But that Vulcan, no. Bringing up, hey, you didn't join the Vulcan Science Academy. Is that because of your emotions? You're really trying to prod him, you know? Are you trying to poke him into what? What if he'd said yes? You know what? Yeah, probably. Next question. You know, just don't let it faze him at all. I like in this episode, Spock had a conversation with Dr. What's her name? Dr. McKenna. Yeah. I really, because we'd previously established, one, she offered to talk to him in one of the episodes. Then it turned in a subsequent episode, it turned out that they had been having conversations. And in this episode, he asks her for advice. And she gives him some perspective. Now let's talk directly about the connection to the original series. This is very deliberately and obviously a continuation of Turnabout Intruder and Janice. Not our Janice, the other Janice, Kirk's Janice. No, well, who was writing against the Federation not allowing women to be captains. And this episode takes that as canon. They say, yes, that's the way it has been, and maybe it shouldn't be that way anymore. And we sort of get out of we sort of wiggle our way out of taking the blame for that by placing it firmly on the Tellarites. We say that their attitudes and their importance to the Federation is why they've had a little bit of sway over certain things that have become the norm. So the Tellarites is basically just saying, hey, look, it's not our fault. It was the Tellarites is taking the place of the 60s in this story, you know. We're trying to fix it. It's a little, I'm not going to say it's a little clumsy. I think Turnabout Intruder, even at the time, was a bit clunky with that. And who knows whether what Janice was saying was the truth or not. But yeah, we do try to address it directly and fix it. And we have some hope at the end with the Tellarite going, hey, yeah, we've got backwards beliefs, which is a little on the nose. I'm with you. If we're going to change it all, don't worry, Kirk. You know? But I think the episode is brave, and it talks about, in a way, how people are consciously or unconsciously discriminated against based on what they look like, their gender, their ethnicity, all of that stuff. In small ways, in big ways and in small ways that you might not even notice yourself doing. And that's why all the characters were they were self-reflective a lot of the time of this episode. And it also shines a mirror. Shines a mirror? Well, you can shine a mirror if you want. Don't let me stop you. Turns a mirror on the way things are currently as well. You know, we can say that we've moved on from the 60s and everybody's equal now. But I think we can all agree that there are still at least subconscious biases when it comes to things like that. And I know that to be the case a little bit. You know, when they were talking about what people look like and how that can affect things, I was like, you know what? That kind of rings home true to me. You know? Because I kind of look like something from Fraggle Rock. I get treated. I don't want to go into it. I don't care. I don't want to play a victim of any kind, but I do get treated slightly differently. And especially having a YouTube channel and talking about things, I would say that the views on my videos and the engagement with them is lower than if I looked a bit more normal in my presentation. If I changed nothing but what I look like, I would have a lot more viewers, subscribers, and that's partly on me as a choice I've made. But it exists is the thing. I know in a very real way that sort of bias or judgment exists, and so parts of this episode ring true to me. So I can kind of empathize with her, with Garrett, a little bit, even though it's a completely different thing that she's going through. So I'll say very honestly that I'm impressed with some of the choices they've made in this episode. Not having Garrett be somebody that instantly wins everybody around, that there's some grey area to her character, and maybe she didn't. Maybe she genuinely, if we knew all the facts of all the situations, we could say, look, she handled that situation poorly, and it was kind of covered up. And there's a little few incidents here that she handled poorly. She's not really suitable for this position. Spock has shown time and time again that he can handle himself, and when we weigh it all up, he should be offered the command. And it's so brave as well. I know I use that word maybe a bit too much, but that Spock himself says that maybe he's the best person for the job, you know? So, yeah, I like this one. For a courtroom one, I like it. Plus, it wasn't all courtroom. We also had the mystery of the hood. And yeah, it addressed real issues. It didn't fix them, it sort of asked the questions. And sure, it blamed the Tellarites, and you know, the hood blowing up kind of makes Kirk not have to make a decision. You know, it's kind of an easy out in certain situations, in certain ways. But Chekhov got his promotion. Hadley was in the episode. You know, it was all good. It was all good. So, what are we doing now? We're checking out the title of the next episode. It's called Still Treads the Shadow. Still Treads the Shadow. I love these titles. Embracing the winds of change. Yeah, maybe. That sounds right. Yeah. So come back for episode 8 next time. What did you think of this one? Let me know. I'll see you same time, same bat time, same bat channel next time.